All right, guys. It's a new year, right? And it's taking off faster than I expected, but not surprised, because I laid down the groundwork last year. And I want to share a topic with you guys that I think is really overlooked, especially with people I speak with. And I speak to a lot of people every day, at every, different types of customers and prospects and things like that. And, what I'm going to share with you guys today, if you really receive it and take it and apply it, it's going to change your game. My game has changed dramatically for the better this past week and a half. And it's not because it happened overnight. It's because I prepared for this moment. And it's here. Okay? I'm going to share with you a why, what, and how scenario. Okay? Now, I did a video yesterday, which I haven't posted yet. Is a series of sales training videos on how to handle certain objections. And the first one I did yesterday was, what does not interested really mean? That's not the topic for today, but this leads to that. So I'm going to wait for a few more people to get on, but I'm going to share a very powerful topic. It's a very simple topic, yet people willingly, intentionally, or just ignore to do it because they don't want to do it. So what am I talking about? Here's the topic. And I have my cheat sheet charts here, so bear with me, guys. And, so the topic is this: why you must do personal selling. Those of you who know me know that I stress selling a lot. Not the sales, because the sales, as you know, is the effect or the result of an action and a cause, right? But selling, you see, I used to go to a lot of network meetings and events when I was in Las Vegas. What I found out was that a lot of that is a waste of time, in my opinion, because there's not a lot of action that takes place. You get a lot of business cards, a lot of this, but most people don't really benefit from it. Why? Because they don't know how to sell. And here's what I'm saying. When you do the personal selling, there are 3 things. Actually, there are 9 things that are going to take place. That's going to happen, right? When you take the action of selling. Then I'm going to share with you at the end how you do the selling. Okay? Now, the number one thing that if you do personal selling like I do every single day, number one is this: it's the most powerful engagement you can ever get, or receive, or give, because it's personal. So one of the things that I do with social media is I use it as a tool for me to become better at selling, solving problems, and generating more sales, not only for myself, but for my prospects and my clients. Because it's personal, and we're all looking and want and desire and crave personal attention. We all do. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm growing my beard. It's been 30 days, the first time I've ever done it. So it kind of gets itchy, but I'm going to deal with it for about another month or so. But so most powerful engagement you can ever give, receive, and share is do the personal selling yourself. You see, everyone wants to make sales, but most people don't want to do the selling. So they find a lot of these gimmicks and these apps and these platforms to try to generate more sales. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's not for everyone. Especially if you're just starting your business and you're a young entrepreneur and you're a small business, you got to be smart with your capital. Does that make sense? And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I have real estate clients that I teach. I have janitorial clients that I teach. I have insurance companies that I teach. And it's amazing how people overlook that. So that's number one. The second thing it does when you do personal selling, believe this or not, you set the tone for how the relationship is going to go. I'm a true believer in that. 98% of my business and my sales over my 30-year career has been through cold calling and personal selling. It's very important that you understand, because at the end, it's all about relationships, right? And what better relationship can you build when you make personal calls and you give them personal engagement? I'll give you an example. I had a crazy experience today. I was cold calling a prospect, and my client gave me this list to call, and he didn't tell me that was a client of his already. So I started cold calling him, and they knew that I didn't know that they were a client. Man, that was not pretty. They hung up on me. I called them back, and I realized what happened, and I was able to overcome that and make it right. Does that make sense? But the point is that I developed a personal relationship with them. I still was able to get that situation that could have been really bad, and I actually turned it into a more profitable situation because they didn't realize some of the other things that my client companies offer. So I was able to turn that around. So I set the tone. So it's all about setting tone with your prospect. Because don't forget this, guys. You small business owners and entrepreneurs, you are a business owner and a customer, just like the prospects and customers you want to try to generate in sales with, right? So why not develop personal relationship? Why not go out there and earn that business? No matter how big you are or how small you are in business, never lose sight of that. Number 3, what I've learned is this, and I teach this to my students and even my clients, is don't ever be afraid to share, show, and give your value. That's number 3. When you got a powerful engagement and you set the tone, guess what that tone entails? You sharing your value, showing your value, offering your value, selling your value. Because at the end of the day, we as salespeople and as entrepreneurs, we're the commodity. The product or services that we're offering is just a bridge to the relationship. So if they don't have a strong engagement with you and you set the wrong tone with them, they're not going to see any value. No matter what you say or do, they're not going to buy from you because they didn't buy into you first. Because one thing I learned in 30 years of sales, I am the commodity. Not trying to sound arrogant. It's just a fact. I solve sales problems. That's what my company does. PaulCruzSalesAgency, where sales happen. It's not an accident. Does that make sense? So number 3 is you get to show your value. Does that make sense? Number 4, through my strategy, I have a training program called Martial Arts of Selling, which is the mindset, is the training, and then the social media conversion strategy is the application, in other words, taking this information, this knowledge, this training, and then applying it, right? Through my strategy, you're going to generate a high conversion ratio. I have a high conversion ratio for my prospects, whether I'm selling for myself, offering my services, or those that already pay me for my services, and I'm selling for them and generating themselves. I have a high conversion ratio on the initial call, on the initial engagement. So if you do that every single day, you're going to have at least a 30% minimum conversion ratio. So if you speak to 10 people and you got a powerful engagement and you set the right tone and you're showing your value, right? And you're giving your value and you're offering your value, you're going to be priceless. You're going to have a high conversion ratio. Typically, the way it works for me in my program is, out of every 10 people I do a full presentation on the initial call, I usually close about 30 to 40% on the first call. And then the follow calls is about 60% because I build a strong pipeline. And that's what you have to do. But you can't do that if you have a weak engagement and you don't have a strong, setting. You set up a weak tone to the relationship. And if your value is weak and it's not strong, you're not going to be consistent. So number 4 is a most effective conversion ratio if you set the right engagement. Number 5 is you're going to see that you're generating consistent sales. I'll give you an example. I had a pipeline lead for 2 months ago that I've been working, and he wasn't ready to do business. I threw the kitchen sink at him. The other day, I get to my office and I'm looking at my bank account and I saw a wire transfer. I didn't recognize that. I wasn't expecting one. Then in my email, I get the service agreement signed. One of my leads that I've been working, they decided to pull the trigger. But why did they do that after 2 months? Because I set the tone. They were engaged. They saw the value. And they knew, and they know that I could solve their sales problem in their company. Does that make sense? So that's what I mean about more consistent sales, because you control it from the beginning to the end. Now, if you get a lot of automated leads, through emails and things like that, you still got to call people. You really didn't build a bond. You really don't have engagement. You're going to get some sales, but the numbers are very minuscule because there's so many leads that you may have to call that may not even be qualified. So you're wasting your time. Does that make sense? Okay, number 6. So that's the action. Now, what are the results by taking that action and doing the selling? Okay, so number 6, if you are generating consistent sales, that means you're going to increase your monthly cash flow. That's what it's all about, right? Because I tell people all the time, if you're not generating sales, all the marketing and advertising and promos you're doing don't mean jack doodle. Because if you're not generating sales consistently, you have a glorified hobby. You don't have a real business, so you can't even worry about a brand. People worry too much about brand when they don't really have anything to brand yet. I'm not saying don't take it serious. I'm just saying be practical, be realistic. Because the only way, in my opinion, your brand means anything is if you provide quality, valuable services or sell valuable products, right? If no one's buying and you're not selling and generating sales, what kind of brand do you really think you have? I'm realistic with myself. I don't live in fantasy land. I keep it real with myself so I can keep it real with my prospect and my future clients. Okay, number 7. So if you're generating more sales consistently and you're increasing your monthly cash flow, you're going to be able to multiply your annual revenue, right? That's what it's all about. Think about it. Number 8 is by controlling the engagement, setting the tone, showing your value, generating consistent sales, you're going to have a higher profit margin, no matter what industry you're in. The problem is that I learned and that I see is that no one likes to do the selling. I have one of the top 5 facility management companies that they do janitorial and things like that nationwide. That's one of my clients. We just re-signed our contract. We extended our contract this week. And they're very successful. They're a 3-generation family, 40 years in business. They're in all 50 states. And they had a hard time generating sales. Well, I just blew that out of the waters. Now I'm running the whole sales division for them nationwide out of my office in El Paso. Think about that. This is a big company. And I got them from cold calling them 3 months ago. It works, guys. Okay. Number 9. This is what it's all about, right? you're going to be able to control and produce a huge return on your investment capital, both labor capital and financial capital. And I've been doing this strategy for 30 years. And every time I deviate from it and I try to experiment with something else, it doesn't work as well. So why fix something that's not broken, right? Does that make sense? So these are the 9 things that if you do the selling and you're disciplined, because you see, selling is a mindset and closing is an attitude. Those who follow me know I say that all the time. You know, how do you do this? How do you do the selling? There's many ways to sell. But what I found out over the years is cold calling, especially on social media platform, is the most powerful, cost-effective way to grow your business. It really is. Because at the end of the day, we all, excuse me, at the end of the day, we all want personal attention, right? Again, I'm not saying social media. I got 15 different platforms I'm on. I don't focus on how many followers I get, how many likes I get, how many comments. That's all well and good, but my ego doesn't need that. I generate sales. I produce sales. I do the selling. I go out and grab it. That's just the bottom line. Especially you small business owners and entrepreneurs like myself. You know, don't throw darts and thinking it's just gonna pop overnight, because that's not realistic. Unfortunately, there's a lot of gimmicks out there that tell you, generate $10,000, $20,000 a month. With my strategy that I use, you could generate $20,000 a week minimum on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Alignable, etc. because the process is the same. It doesn't change. So the number one thing you need to know is understand that selling is storytelling. Selling is the most powerful engagement you can offer anyone. Think about it, guys. But anyway, want to share that with you guys. I want to thank those of you who are live with me. I appreciate your time. I hope that this has been helpful. If you have any questions, comments, just instant message me. If you want to know more about sales topic or selling topics, visit my YouTube channel at PaulCruzSalesAgency. Watch some of the videos, comment on it. If you want to follow me there, just hit the subscription button. And if you have any questions and you want to take some action, direct message me, and someone in my company or myself will respond to you in 24 hours. Anyway, guys, you guys have a successful weekend with your friends and family and neighbors. Till we speak again, I say goodbye for now. Take care.